The summer drizzle clung to the sidewalks of Boston's business district, turning every window into a blurry watercolor. Inside the Cedar and Steam Cafe, warm, humming, and fragrant with roasted beans, Haley Bennett hesitated at the entrance with her 5-year-old daughter Charlotte latched tightly to her hand. Their jackets were damp, and Charlotte's pigtails sagged under stray raindrops. "Mommy, my tummy's making noises," Charlotte murmured, tugging at her sleeve. "I know, sweet pea, just 1 second." Haley scanned the room. Every table was packed. Suits talking over laptops, students buried in textbooks, except one small two-seater in the far corner. A man occupied it alone, shoulders squared, posture precise. His charcoal suit fit him like it was sculpted, and silver strands at his temples made him look distinguished but unapproachable. He typed with a kind of focus that made Haley reconsider bothering him. But Charlotte needed food, and Haley needed cover from the rain and a moment to breathe after yet another failed job interview. "Come on," she whispered, guiding Charlotte toward the table. She paused before him. "Excuse me, could we share this table? Just until the storm slows?" The man finally looked up. His eyes, sharp, blue, analytical, studied her, then Charlotte, then her water-spotted portfolio bag. "Yes," he said, "on one condition." Haley tensed. "Which is?" "I pay for your lunch." His tone was calm but firm, almost like he expected no argument. Haley flushed. "That's not necessary. We'll order something small." "I insist," he replied, closing his laptop as if the matter were already settled. He extended a hand. "Daniel Westmore." She shook it hesitantly. "Haley, and this is Charlotte." They slid into their seats, a waitress approached, and Daniel ordered a black coffee before looking to the little girl with an unexpectedly gentle expression. "What would you like?" "Chicken nuggets and apple juice," Charlotte said shyly. "And for you?" asked Haley. "A small salad." Daniel didn't blink. "Make it a salad and a club sandwich." Haley shot him a glare. "I said I didn't need. You look like you've had a long day, and a small salad won't help with that." Haley exhaled sharply, caught between irritation and surprise. "Fine." As they waited, Daniel's gaze drifted to her portfolio bag. "Rough interview?" Haley stiffened. "How did you—" Worn blazer, rain-soaked resume bag, stress in the eyes. He said simply, "I'm observant." "And what exactly do you do that requires so much observing?" "I build things. Real estate. Westmore Properties." Haley blinked. She knew that name. Everyone in Boston did. Before she could respond, Charlotte blurted, "My mommy makes the prettiest pictures for computers, but people keep saying they're no because they're silly." Heat crawled up her neck, but Daniel only turned back to her, interest sharpening. "Is that true? You're a designer?" Haley nodded cautiously. Daniel leaned back, studying her with a new, unreadable intensity, one that made Haley feel something in her life was about to shift. But Haley had no idea that sharing this table wouldn't just change her afternoon, it would change everything. Their food arrived quickly, Charlotte's nuggets steaming, Haley's meal far larger than she'd intended, and Daniel's coffee placed neatly before him. As Charlotte dug in with childish delight, Daniel gestured toward Haley's portfolio bag again. "May I?" he asked. Haley hesitated. It had been a long week of rejections, and the thought of another set of judging eyes, especially from a billionaire, made her stomach twist. But she needed opportunities, and he seemed genuinely curious. She unlocked her tablet and slid it across the table. "Just be honest." Daniel examined each piece with a seriousness that made Haley hold her breath. Branding boards, app prototypes, identity systems, work she'd spent months perfecting. Nothing in his expression revealed what he thought. "You did all this?" he finally asked. "Every part," Haley said quietly. "You're good. Very good." Then more softly, "Better than some of the firms we pay a fortune to." Warmth flickered in her chest. It had been a long time since anyone in the industry had spoken to her like that. "So," she asked carefully, "is this where you tell me you have an opening?" Daniel smirked. "Not exactly, but I can offer you something." He closed the portfolio and leaned forward. "We're launching a new division. Eco-friendly housing. We need a fresh visual identity. I can put you on the list to pitch." Haley's breath caught. A pitch at Westmore Properties was no small thing. It could change their entire future. "Why me? You don't even know me." His gaze flicked briefly to Charlotte, who was drawing smiley faces on a napkin with her crayon. "Some people deserve a shot," he said simply, "and you're one of them." Before Haley could respond, Charlotte chirped, "Mr. Daniel, do you draw pictures?" A laugh escaped him, small but real. "Not the kind your mom does." Charlotte studied him thoughtfully. "You look sad sometimes." Haley froze. "Charlotte!" "It's all right," Daniel murmured. But something shifted in his eyes. Something old, heavy, and quickly buried again. The waitress dropped off the bill, and Daniel paid without hesitation. When he stood, he handed Haley a sleek black business card with embossed silver lettering. "Wednesday at 2. Ask for me." Then, after a pause, "And Haley, don't sell yourself short." He nodded once to Charlotte. "Goodbye, sweetheart." "Bye-bye, rich man," she called after him. Haley groaned, mortified, as Daniel's shoulders shook with a suppressed laugh on his way out. When he was gone, Haley stared at the card in her hand. Her pulse hammered. A pitch with one of the biggest firms on the East Coast? It felt unreal, too unreal. But then she noticed something strange. His wedding ring. Old, worn, loose. And his eyes earlier. That flash of sadness. "This man has secrets," she whispered. Charlotte looked up. "Like treasure hunt secrets?" Haley wasn't so sure it was treasure. And by Wednesday afternoon, she would learn the first of those secrets, the hard way. The Westmore Tower was even more intimidating up close than it looked from the street, 60 stories of glass that sliced into the Boston sky like a blade. Haley stood on the sidewalk with Charlotte's small hand tucked in hers, staring up at it with a mix of awe and dread. "Is the fancy man up there?" Charlotte asked, squinting at the reflective panels. "Yes," Haley said, "and we're just going to show them Mommy's work, okay? That's it." "Will they buy me a garden for Rocket?" Charlotte added hopefully. "Rocket doesn't exist yet," Haley reminded gently, "and we're not buying any gardens." But she couldn't deny it. If the pitch went well, everything could change. Rent, daycare, food, all the things she was constantly juggling might finally stop crushing her. She dropped Charlotte off at Mrs. Rivera's and rode the elevator to the 58th floor. The reception area felt more like a museum than an office. Granite floors, sculptural light fixtures, floor-to-ceiling windows revealing the harbor. The receptionist glanced at Haley's name and gave a polite but cool nod. "You're the independent applicant. The others are already in conference room B." "Others?" Haley repeated, startled. Daniel hadn't mentioned a group pitch. She walked down the glossy hallway and froze at the glass wall of the conference room. 3 people, sharp suits, polished portfolios, the kind of confidence that came from decades of agency backing, were already set up. Haley stepped inside, forcing her shoulders straight. "Hi, I'm Haley Bennett." The older man skimmed his list. "Ah, the freelancer." His tone made it sound like charity case. Before she could respond, a woman with a severe bun smirked. "Solo designer? That's brave." Haley offered a tight smile. "Let's call it resourceful." Executives filed in moments later, led by a woman with steel gray hair and sharper eyes. "I'm Victoria Grant, CMO." Mr. Westmore has been called away unexpectedly. We will proceed without him." Haley's stomach dropped. Daniel wasn't here? He had invited her. Shouldn't he be present? But the presentations began before she could process it. The agencies dazzled with animation reels and glossy market research. Then it was her turn. Hands slightly trembling, Haley connected her tablet to the projector. She spoke clearly, explaining her clean, community-driven approach, the focus on sustainability, the visual identity shaped around accessibility rather than luxury. This wasn't the corporate sheen of the others. It was grounded, human, warm. When she finished, silence followed. Victoria's expression didn't change. "Thank you, Miss Bennett. We will deliver our decision by the end of the week." That was it. No questions, no praise, no critique. Just a controlled, emotionless dismissal. Outside, Haley leaned against a concrete planter, breath uneven. She had walked into a lion's den completely unprepared. Daniel's invitation suddenly felt incomplete. Or intentional. Her phone buzzed. "Mrs. Rivera, Charlotte has a fever. Come home now." Haley's heart plunged. She didn't think twice. She rushed into the subway, mind racing with equal parts panic and exhaustion. 2 hours later, she sat in the emergency room with Charlotte limp against her shoulder, skin burning with fever. The doctor confirmed a nasty strain of strep. Antibiotics were expensive, too expensive for Haley's nearly empty account. She stared at the pharmacy total, panic swelling. Then her phone rang. A number she didn't know. "Miss Bennett?" "Mr. Westmore's assistant. He is concerned you missed your follow-up meeting this morning." "Follow-up meeting? What meeting?" Haley blinked at the price on the screen. "Tell him my daughter is very sick. That's my priority." A pause. Whispered voices. Then, "Mr. Westmore wants to know which pharmacy you're at." "What? Why?" No answer. Minutes later, the pharmacist called her name. "Your prescription has been paid." Haley froze. "And there's a car waiting outside to take you home." Her pulse thundered. This wasn't normal kindness. This was something else, something deeper, stranger. And when her phone buzzed again, her breath caught. "Unknown. Get your daughter well. We need to talk. Your presentation was the only one worth considering. DW." But Haley wasn't the only one watching her that day. And the next message would shatter everything she thought she understood. 3 weeks transformed Haley's life in ways she hadn't dared imagine. After Charlotte recovered from strep, Daniel personally offered Haley a 6-month consulting position. Steady pay, flexible hours, room to breathe again. For the first time in years, Haley stopped waking up with that crushing fear of not making rent. But Daniel himself had become complicated. Professional, polite, almost distant. Gone were the warm smiles from the cafe, the gentle glances toward Charlotte. In meetings, he was composed and efficient, as if he'd locked away whatever he felt that day at the hospital. So when his assistant appeared at Haley's workstation one afternoon, immaculate in her fitted navy suit, Haley's heart gave an unexpected stutter. "Miss Bennett, Mr. Westmore would like to see you in his office." She followed her to the executive floor, nerves tightening with each step. Daniel stood by the window looking out over Boston Harbor. The late sunlight cast a gold outline around him, making him look almost unreal. "You wanted to see me?" she asked softly. He turned, and the exhaustion in his eyes startled her. He looked like someone carrying stones in his chest. "Please, sit," he said, gesturing to the armchairs. She lowered herself into one. "Is something wrong with the project?" "No," he said, settling opposite her. "Your work has become the strongest asset of the division." A warmth spread through her, until he slid a folder toward her. "This is an offer. Creative director, full-time, benefits, equity, The works. Haley stared at the numbers. Her breath caught. "This would change our lives," she whispered. "You've earned it." But there was something unspoken in his tone, something he wanted to address but didn't know how. "How's Charlotte?" he asked suddenly. "She's doing great. She asks about you sometimes." His expression softened at that, then immediately shifted back to neutral. "I'd like to meet her again, properly." Haley's heart skipped. "Why?" Before he could answer, the door swung open. A striking brunette swept inside, heels clicking like gunshots. Expensive coat, sharp perfume, ice in her eyes. "Daniel," she snapped, "we need to talk, now." Haley stood awkwardly, but the woman paused when she noticed her. "Oh, I wasn't aware you had company." Daniel inhaled tightly. "Vanessa, this is Haley Bennett. Haley, this is Vanessa Carlton, my late wife's sister." The tension in the room thickened instantly. Vanessa's smile was razor-sharp. "Charmed." Haley forced a polite nod. "I should probably go." "Yes," Vanessa agreed far too quickly. Daniel shot her a cold glare. "Haley, we'll finish this later." Haley escaped the office, her pulse pounding. Vanessa's hostility wasn't normal. It was territorial, almost suspicious. And when Haley picked up Charlotte later that afternoon, Mrs. Rivera quietly pulled her aside. The building manager came again, asking questions. Too many questions. Unease crawled down Haley's spine. That night, Haley opened her inbox and froze. Subject: Notice of lease termination. Her building had been sold, converted to luxury condos. Vacate in 30 days. The new owner? Westmore Capital Holdings. Her stomach dropped. Daniel's company again. Her phone rang. Unknown number. "Miss Bennett, this is Regina Westmore, Daniel's mother. We need to speak, for your daughter's sake." Haley's heart slammed. And by the time she met Regina Westmore, she would learn the one truth that changed everything. This was no coincidence. It was a war, and she and Charlotte were already inside it. Morning sunlight streaked across Haley's kitchen table as she stared at her laptop, fingers curled tightly around a mug she wasn't drinking from. The name she'd searched, Daniel Westmore Family Tragedy, glowed back at her in headline after headline, each one more devastating than the last. 5 years ago, Daniel's wife and their 4-year-old daughter had died in a boating accident. Catherine Westmore and Emily. Emily, who had golden curls, bright blue eyes, a tiny dimple on her left cheek, just like Charlotte. Haley's stomach twisted. No wonder Daniel had looked at her daughter with such stunned familiarity. No wonder his mother had called. No wonder Vanessa had been practically vibrating with hostility. Suddenly, none of this was about graphic design. It was about grief, and the gaping hole Charlotte accidentally resembled. "Mommy?" Charlotte's small voice tugged her from her spiral. "Why are you staring out the window like a statue?" Haley forced a smile. "Just thinking." But she wasn't thinking. She was planning. She met Daniel first at 9 a.m. He was waiting in a private conference room, looking both nervous and relieved when she stepped inside. "Haley, thank you for coming," he began. "Why didn't you tell me?" "About Emily." He exhaled shakily. "Because you're not her, and I didn't want you to think that's why you helped us?" He finished. He nodded. "And the building you bought? My lease? Your mother's call?" "That wasn't me," he insisted. "I swear it. My mother handles property acquisitions. She acts before I can stop her." He stepped closer, voice cracking. "I don't want to replace my daughter. I'm trying to find a future I didn't think I deserved." The vulnerability in his gaze wasn't an act. But Haley needed time. "I'm meeting your mother today." His face paled. "Please, be careful." Next came Vanessa at 10 o'clock.
In a corner cafe, she launched into accusations. Daniel was hiding things, manipulating her, using Charlotte as an emotional stand-in. Haley listened, but every word felt rehearsed, like Vanessa was playing a part in a battle she'd been fighting for years. Then at noon, she met Regina Westmore at the Four Seasons. The woman radiated wealth and control in equal measure. "You're a talented young woman, but your daughter's resemblance to my late granddaughter is destabilizing for Daniel. I am prepared to offer you $2 million, a new home in another city, and a position at a top agency if you sever ties immediately." "Money," Haley said quietly. "To disappear." "To protect everyone involved," she corrected, and the steel beneath her polished tone was unmistakable. "Daniel cannot heal if he clings to ghosts." Haley stared at her. "Charlotte isn't a ghost, and neither am I." Regina's eyes cooled. "You're making a mistake." But for the first time all day, Haley no longer felt confused. She felt clear. Crystal clear. That afternoon, she found Daniel waiting near the public garden, concern edged across his face. Charlotte ran to him immediately, throwing her arms around his legs with innocent affection. She watched him kneel and hug her back gently, carefully, as if she were something priceless. When he rose, he looked at Haley with a question in his eyes. "Did you decide?" he asked. Haley took his hand. "Yes." She squeezed it. "We're staying." His breath left him in a rush. Relief, gratitude, something deeper. And for the first time, Haley let herself believe that maybe, just maybe, broken people could rebuild something beautiful. Together. Because sometimes life doesn't give second chances. Sometimes it gives unexpected beginnings.
Thanks for watching, and subscribe to support me and to get more stories like this.